Hey, it's Kappy, and this is Beyond the Plate, Heard, the audio newsletter where I share what's on my plate, literally and figuratively. From culinary insights to restaurants and recipes, it's everything that I'm seeing, tasting, and talking about in just a few minutes. This isn't a peer-reviewed culinary journal, it's just my take on what I'm into at the moment. So let's dive in, and I hope you all take something from my plate. Okay, first up is the Compton Hotel in Bentonville, Arkansas. The Compton is a boutique hotel in downtown Bentonville that's all about Northwest Arkansas's outdoor culture, if you will. I should probably preface this by saying I've actually never been to Bentonville, so I'm lumping the Bentonville, Fayetteville area together here. I say this because I have family who live in that area and they've mentioned this property to me before. But what really put it on my radar was hearing that someone that I used to work with more than 20 years ago in Miami, someone who's like the ultimate hospitality pro, he's now part of the team there. So if he's involved, I have a feeling guests are in very good hands. I think we've only featured one or two hotels on Heard episodes, so I'm glad to give another hotel a shout out, quite frankly. And one detail that immediately caught my attention, Compton Hotel has a bike concierge. Incredible. I think this is amazing. For me, those little thoughtful touches always stand out. A bike concierge. So if you're ever in Bentonville or Fayetteville or the area, maybe take a peek over at the Compton Hotel. You can find all the links and handles I mentioned in the show notes. Next up is Cougar Gold Cheese. I can't believe I haven't talked about this one yet. Okay, Cougar Gold Cheese is a tinned aged cheddar made at the Washington State University Creamery. So it's an American-made cheddar. Okay, if you've never heard of this, don't worry. I had not either until many years ago. Like I said, it's made at the Washington State University Creamery, and the first time I tried it, I was genuinely blown away. It's a delicious cheddar that's packaged in a tin, which admittedly sounds a little strange, but trust me on this one. And I know I don't need to sell my fellow Jamaicans on this because they know all about tin cheese. So here's their tin story. Cougar Gold dates back to the 1940s when Washington State University partnered with the American Can Company to figure out how to successfully age cheese in tins. So more than 80 years later, they're still doing it. So I bought a couple of tins years ago and even gave some to Rachel Ray, who went on a full-blown Cougar Gold kick and started using it in all kinds of recipes. I think she even featured it in her daytime show back in the day. To be honest, I kind of forgot about the tin cheese for a while, but I was recently having a conversation about dairies and dairy farms, and then Cougar Gold immediately popped back into my head, I should say. So naturally, here we are. They also do some seasonal and limited edition flavors throughout the year, so there's usually something new to check out, but you can go with one of the ones that they sell throughout the year as well. It's a pretty generous amount of cheese too, like it's a lot. I remember opening a tin, I think I cut it into quarters and then froze some of it for later. These days, I'd probably vacuum seal it instead. But either way, if you're a cheese lover, I think it's absolutely worth trying this cheese. I want to say like at least once, but you're probably going to go back and want to try another flavor. You can find all the links and handles that I talk about in the show notes. Next up is mango chicken. Okay, mango chicken is my spin on the classic Chinese takeout sweet and sour chicken, you know, the red colored one. I made mine with chicken thighs. I added a simple homemade sauce and fresh mangoes. Truth be told, I was craving that Chinese takeout sweet and sour chicken. You know, like I said, that bright red one that usually, I think it's like a ketchup and vinegar base. But here's the deal. I knew my son would be down with this and eat it no problem, but I needed a little more of a story for my daughter. So I threw together this really simple sweet and sour sauce recipe with ketchup, rice vinegar, a little brown sugar, honey, tamari, some ginger, garlic, and some water. I browned the chicken thighs in a really hot wok, added the sauce when they were cooked through, and then served this all over white rice. But here's the thing, as it was coming together and it was delicious, I still wasn't convinced my daughter was going to eat it. And then I saw a couple mangoes sitting on our counter. So I peeled them, diced them up, and tossed them into the chicken dish right at the end. And now it's mango chicken. My daughter loves mangoes, so she was all in. And while we were eating, she kept saying, "Daddy, you have to make this again. You have to make this again." The only problem with this dish this night was I had to cut us all off from eating because my wife was still on her way home from work and she hadn't had dinner yet and was hungry, and we needed to save some for her. So I will put the sauce recipe in the show notes if you want to give it a try. Next up is 2 job opportunities in the food and social impact space. If you're looking for meaningful work in food, sustainability, or social impact, there's 2 interesting leadership roles that recently caught my attention. I'm taking a little bit of a different approach this time here on Herd. Instead of highlighting a specific nonprofit or organization, I thought I'd share a couple of job opportunities that came across my LinkedIn feed. Now, depending on when you're listening to this, these positions may already be filled, but the organizations themselves are absolutely still worth knowing about. The first one is with ReFed, a US-based nonprofit that I've talked about here quite a bit. ReFed is one of the leading organizations working to reduce food waste through research, data, and partnerships across the food system. They are currently hiring a vice president of business initiatives. And if you've ever wanted to work at that intersection of food sustainability and systems change, I definitely encourage you to take a look. The second opportunity is with Kava. Yes, Kava, the Mediterranean fast casual restaurant brand that's grown to more than 400 locations across the country. They're probably closer to 500 now. They are looking for a senior manager of social impact and sustainability to help lead the company's impact strategy and sustainability initiatives. Another great example of how purpose-driven work isn't really limited to nonprofits these days, or hopefully anymore. So whether these exact jobs are still open or not, I don't know. I think it's encouraging to see organizations like these investing in social impact leadership, though. Next up is sweet corn ice cream. Sweet corn ice cream is exactly what it sounds like, sweet corn ice cream. I happen to be a huge sweet corn ice cream fan, and apparently now one of my 7-year-olds is too. He says that corn ice cream is his favorite flavor, which I definitely didn't see coming, and I always get a little chuckle when he says it. So I decided to make a batch in our Ninja Creamy, which I've talked about here on Herd before, using some inspiration from one of Tyler Malik's Salt and Straw ice cream books. I had about a dozen or so frozen corn cobs in the freezer, so I infused those with some whole milk and heavy cream with the cobs in a big pot overnight. The pot was not on, to pull out all that sweet corn flavor. It's really what became the base for the ice cream. And honestly, it turned out pretty amazing. I should say, I put the liquid over the cobs, brought it up to a really light bubble for 15-20 minutes, turned it off until it cooled, and then let it infuse overnight. When I made the ice cream, I also used a little bit of xanthan gum, something that Tyler talks about a lot. It's a stabilizer that helps create a smoother texture and also keeps ice crystals from forming. You can find it in a lot of different places these days. I believe I got a little bag of it on Amazon, and a little bag goes a very long way. Now, I don't expect my inbox or DMs to be flooded with requests for this sweet corn ice cream recipe, but if you ever see it on a menu or at an ice cream shop, I would do yourself a favor and order a scoop or at least a little taste, and I think you're going to be a big fan of it too. I think one of the first places I had it at was at Cone's on Bleecker Street in New York City. Their best flavor by far. One last thing before I leave you. It's about fettuccine Alfredo. Okay, for me, fettuccine Alfredo is one of those classic comfort dishes from my childhood, even if everyone has their own version of it. We recently found out that one of our kids' friends is moving out of state, so we had their family over for dinner before they leave. When we asked what she'd like for dinner, we were told fettuccine Alfredo. So my eyes kind of lit up a little bit because, like I said, that was one of my favorite dishes when I was a kid. We used to go to a Let Us Entertain You restaurant in the city of Chicago that was called Tucci Banucci. And I always ordered the fettuccine Alfredo. And the funny part of this is I'd try ordering it at other Italian restaurants and inevitably tell my mom I didn't like it and to send it back because it was too cheesy. Well, as you guessed, turns out fettuccine Alfredo is a cheese-forward pasta. I just happen to think Tucci Banucci made the perfect version. At least my 8-year-old self thought so. And yes, before anyone emails me, I know authentic fettuccine Alfredo is traditionally just butter, Parmesan, and pasta water, not the cream-based version that many of us grew up eating. So I happily went down the Alfredo rabbit hole, something I have not done in many, many years, and made it for dinner. And I loved introducing it to my own kids, and thankfully, I think it was a hit. Funny how sometimes these simple little requests can bring back crazy childhood memories that you haven't really thought about in a while. Okay, one more last thing. I know, one more last thing. But I needed to share this because on my drive home to record just now, this popped up into my head and onto my feed again. I recently saw 2 posts on Instagram that really stuck with me. One was from Billy Shore, the founder of Share Our Strength, highlighting Norimoto Bakery in Portland, Maine. And the other was from Adam Richman, who shared what Di Romano's Pizza in the Bronx is doing. Both restaurants had a simple message. If you need food or are in need of food, come in and they'll feed you. To be honest, it's kind of heartbreaking that these kinds of signs seem to be popping up more often and even have to exist. But it's also this reminder of something that I've believed since we started Beyond the Plate like 9 years ago. This industry constantly shows up. Whether you're a restaurant, a bakery, a pizzeria, a cafe, these people work unbelievably hard every day and night on very slim margins to ultimately feed their community. And when times get tough, so many of them somehow find a way to feed even more people, cases in point. So here's my ask of you if you're listening. If you're a writer, a journalist, a podcast host, a creator, honestly, anyone with a voice or a following or in conversation, whatever it may be, I would love to keep shining a light on these stories because there are plenty of reasons to cover the restaurant industry. I know that, but the generosity of the people in it deserves a lot more attention. And after like 9 years of telling these stories, I can honestly say that this industry never ceases to amaze me. And I hope we never stop talking about the people who make sure that others do not go hungry. Thank you for listening to Heard, a production of Beyond the Plate. You can find all the links and handles I mentioned in the show notes. If you liked this, then tap the follow button and tune in for more Heard, where I share what I'm seeing, tasting, and loving lately in food and hospitality. And if your friends and family may enjoy it, I hope you'll share it with them. Until next time.